come home. I want to look at the second parak, the second chapter of Hilchos Tshuva. So the Rambam says like this: Ezi tshuva gemura. What is perfect tshuva? Full tshuva. Tshuva shelema. What is full tshuva? Perfect tshuva. I mean, that's what we all want, right? Perfect tshuva. Full tshuva. What is this full tshuva? We're in the Shahako. Says the Rambam. Zeh shabali yodai. It comes to your hand. What comes to your hand? Davar sha'avar boy. It comes to your hand something that you could do an avera with. So it comes to your hand, I don't know, bacon cheeseburger. The efshar biyodai lasois, and you could do it. Who perish, and you don't. You don't do it. V'lo asa mipnei atshuva, and you don't do it mipnei atshuva because you did tshuva. Now, this cheeseburger coming to your hand, excuse me, bacon cheeseburger, is not because lo me'ira. You don't do the tshuva because, like I'm scared. V'loi mikishloin koyach. And also not because I don't have energy to eat a bacon cheeseburger. Rather, why did you not eat it? Because of tshuva. I'm a different person. I could have done it. It was presented to me. But I didn't do it. This is called tshuva gemura. This is real tshuva. It looks like there's something about tshuva that involves some real life situation that I get put in, and I'm not this person anymore. I'm a different human being. I act differently now. Ketzad. So how will you really know if it's tshuva gemura now, the Rambam says? How will I really know this is tshuva gemura? So he says like this: Hare shabal isha ba'avera. If God forbid a person had an illicit relation. And, pardon? Illicit relations with somebody. Adultery, God forbid. Or before marriage, doing something you shouldn't do. Bolanida. Ba'achar zman. And then after time, he ends up not same trip, and what would you know? Look who's there. The same hostel. You? I thought I wasn't going to see you again. Same vibe. Everybody went out. Place is quiet. Same vibe. And who oimid ba'avosayba, and he remembers what it was last time, which means it's not like he's any less pumped up about this opportunity that's presenting. He is pumped up about this. And he's got, he's not some 95-year-old guy now. He's the same young lad with all of his hormones and all. Ubimedina, sha'avarba, in the same place. Meaning the same variables are all plugged in. V'perash v'lo avar. And he doesn't do it this time. Ze Baal Tshuva Gemura. That's a Baal Tshuva. Let's go. That's a Baal Tshuva. He could have done it. Same setup, same thing. And he says no this time. And like we said, it has to be that it's the same vibe, because if he was 95 years old, he's not 20 anymore. So that it's not like it's the same usually vibes hormonally in a human being at 95 than when they are 20. And therefore the fact that he said no when he was in the same situation, and every fiber of his being would have said yes, and it did last time, but now he says no, this is a real Baal Tshuva. Hey Yisrael.
Does it have to be the same person?
No, it doesn't have to mamish be the same person, but the same situation. Person's like, I find myself in this situation again. A lot of people, that's what happens. They get used to doing certain averas. How does it usually go? Let's say a guy, he goes on his phone for something. So afterwards, he's like, I don't want to do this again. What happens? A day later, he's like, I find myself exactly in the same situation, and I know how this is about to go, and it's so hard to not do it. Okay, no, tomorrow. And then you find an exact same situation, literally, just like cut and paste. So if in a cut and paste storyline, you say, I'm breaking out of this, Baal Tshuva Gemura. You're the man. You're the woman. Not you guys.
Yeah,
I'm saying, for our friends around the world, if they're... You're amazing. If you are copy-paste situation, and this that in the past that you struggled, but now you say no, Baal Tshuva Mamish, Baal Tshuva Gemur. And this is what King Solomon taught us. Hu sheshloima Amar. This is what King Solomon taught us in Koheles, in Ecclesiastes. Uzacharis bayrecha bimei bechuro yisecha. Remember your Creator in your youth. What does that mean? While you still have those same hormonal vibes, and it is a copy-paste situation. Even though, as we're going to learn in a moment, even if a guy only woke up later in his life and then got himself together, he's still a Baal Tshuva, but it's not the same level. When a person is able to stop himself, when it's like everything, all pistons are firing, like everything is ready to go, and he says no, Baal Tshuva Gemura Mamish. Ve'im lo yishava ela bimei ziknusoi. So the Rambam immediately says, what if he only did tshuva when he's an older person? Ube'ei she'iev sharloi lasois masha haya oise. He can't do in the same things that he did in the past. His body is different, things are different. Afal pi she'ein tshuva me'ule. Even though it would not be as high of a level of tshuva had he been a young man, because that's just the nature of things. Still, mo'elis hi loy. This tshuva helps him. Ubal tshuvahu. He is a Baal Tshuva. Here, though, the Rambam takes out the word gemura. He's a Baal Tshuva, not a Baal Tshuva. Gemura. Interesting. Every word in the Rambam is like gold. We're mining gold, boys. It's gold. So the Rambam says, Baal Tshuvahi. Before he said Baal Tshuva Gemura. And the Rambam, when he introduces the entire parak, he says, Ezehi Tshuva Gemura. And then he begins the parak by teaching us about when you're young, that's the time to do the tshuva. And he quotes the pasuk from King Solomon. But he makes sure that we don't think that, if somebody here is with us watching, like, but I'm 80 years old, I'm 90 years old, what am I going to do? No, you can still do Baal Tshuva. And you will be a Baal Tshuva. You will be a Baal Tshuva. So much so, it says the Rambam, Afilu over kol yomav, v'asa tshuva. Even if his entire life, sadly, he made bad decisions. And for his entire life he was making these bad decisions, and only b'yoyim misasei, the day before he died, or the day of his death, he did tshuva, and it was real tshuva, umeis b'tshuvasei, and then he died. Kol avoinosav nimchalan. Then all of his averas are gone. They're nimchal. Now, a person might say, like, okay, could have some fun. I'll just time it. Just time my tshuva properly. Bad idea. Number one, after that many averas, it's harder to do tshuva. Number two, it's going against Hashem's will. And number three, we don't know when's going to be the time. That's Russian roulette. The Torah says an interesting thing. It says a person should do tshuva one day before he dies. So the Gemara says on that, what do you mean? A man doesn't know when he's going to die. So the Gemara says, yes, you do tshuva every day of your life. You don't know. Do tshuva every single day. Every single day. Also, the fact that when you do tshuva every single day, there's some people, I'm not naming any names, but there's some people that the way that they keep their house is that they don't clean it all so often. There are some houses that you go into and you get a feeling like this is probably a house they clean out once every 20 years or so. It gets like a bit of a scrub. So you can imagine walking into a house that's a once every 20-year house, what it looks like. There's other houses that, once a year, Erev Pesach, they try to, get stuff out. But during the rest of the year, like it's a bit, stuffy in there. They clean it out once a year. There's other houses they clean every week. L'chavat Shabbos Kodesh. It's clean. So averas, if you only clean them out every 50 years, it's going to be a bit hard to clean that much out. Which means to do tshuva at the end of a person's life, not so push. It's a lot of work. It's filled up in there. When you do tshuva every single day, it's like cleaning out the house. Everything is squeaky clean. Let's go, boys. You're polishing things up day after day. This is the avodah. It's to get everything squeaky clean, polished up every single day. And therefore, can a person do it at the end? Sure, he could do one Herculean tshuva, but there's a lot of risk in that, and it's not always pashat. Says the Rambam, Shenema. And how do we know that you could do tshuva right till the end? So it says in King Solomon again, Koheles, Ad asher lo yitech hashemesh, until not that the sun has set, which means as long as the sun is still up, which means that's the light of your life. As long as the sun is still up in the sky and is not yet set, then there's hope to do tshuva. Once the sun has set, so to speak, that's an analogy for the end. Once the sun has set, it's a different thing. והאור והירח וכוחם ושבוע אב מאחר הגשם שהוא יום המיסה. And the moon and the stars and everything comes out. It's a different time of a person's life. There's the time when the light is shining, and in so much that the light is shining, a person can do tshuva. A person can do tshuva. Mechlal, what do we learn from this? She'im zachar boyer v'shav koydem she'emes nislach loy. As long as he does tshuva before the end, he's forgiven. And therefore, anybody, all of our friends around the world, no matter when it is, do tshuva. And tshuva, we said, means to come home. Come home. Come home to your neshama. We don't want the averas. Ein adam chayte ela shenichnas by roshtus. We only do an avera because we were temporarily insane. We were taken over by a spirit of insanity. Your soul does not want the bacon cheeseburger. Does not want Netflix. Sorry to tell you that. No, but isn't like there's some like educational shows on there? Yeah. There's a reason why there's no advertisements on Netflix? Because the whole thing is an advertisement. They're brainwashing that you don't even know. I think they just added it?
Yeah, they literally just did.
They literally just did?
No, it's just added.
There's a free version, like a lower tier.
They just added it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the lower. I'm telling you, the whole thing is an advertisement. They're selling you something. They're selling you something. Those are the best advertisements. But the ones you don't even know is a commercial. Because the whole thing is a commercial. The whole thing is one big commercial. And you were duped. And you bought it. And you sold into it. There's hope though. The neshama just wants Hashem. Just wants vibrancy. Torah. Tefillah. Avinu Malkeinu. We're about to daven mincha. Avinu Malkeinu. The neshama wants to rip open the Aron Kodesh. Avinu Malkeinu. Psar lanu shari shemaim lesfila seinu. Our neshama's mamish just want Avinu Malkeinu. Netflix. There's no advertisements. And now there is. So that the whole thing's an advertisement and there's advertisements. Which in a certain way is interesting because it means that the ones that you think are the advertisements make you think that the other part wasn't an advertisement. So it makes it even a deeper advertisement, all the shows now. Because now your guard is down, like, oh, it can't be that the whole show is an advertisement because they have advertisements. That's how they get you. It's one advertisement. Just say no to drugs, boys. Be careful. They're seeding in.
That's about King David.
I know what it's about. Somebody asked about it. So I warned them.
It's very not accurate.
That's the problem.
That's what I heard.
That's the problem, is because usually they do things like this. They'll give you some accuracy, because then it wins over your confidence. And then when you're 45 steps down the rabbit hole, then they make a sharp left. Because you trust us, right? You trust us. And then all of a sudden, they pull some psychological twist in there, and your whole picture of King David has been completely warped in a deeply subconscious psychological way. You know how hard it is to rewire that stuff? Nisht pashut. I remember like 20 years ago or something when Noah's Ark came out. It was like a Hollywood thing, whatever. It was 15 years ago, something like that. So some of the guys in the dorms were watching. I was like, bro, be careful with that. He said, nah, come on. Noah's Ark. Like, it's like, it's biblical. There was a scene in there that is such an anti-creation scene. But Adam and Chava, it's basically pushing a narrative that's not pashut. With all the flashing lights, you're just like, this is the truth. This is the truth. And you don't think about it. Because the Netflix, they don't think. It's just, you're just absorbing. Be careful with music, it's the same thing. Music comes from the Sira Malchus, it's very influential. So most people, like, when they have music, they're like, and their bodies are just moving. And they're not even listening, but the words are just... I know many people, when they started to learn Torah, and they started to actually think about the songs that they grew up singing, the lyrics, and then they stopped themselves, they're like, what was I singing? They didn't realize the words that they were singing. They just sang it because it's just that you get moved by the beat. And you realize you've been singing things that are not so, kosher. So what's yeshiva all about? Letting you think. Letting your brains actually think through things. It's very, very important. And being able to defend positions and think about things. Why is Netflix a good use of my time? Let's think about that. Let's speak that out. Somebody before we were speaking, his name was Akash. He was with us. I'm not sure if he's still with us now. He was speaking about the Old Testament. And he was asking about places in the Old Testament where things are brought. And he was positing that it's not there. And then one of our friends, Yosef Stern, was writing him back. But there's a lot of explicit examples to what you're talking about. So that's just a real discussion. I hear the point you're making. Let's respond to that point. It's about real use of the brain. So that's the first halacha in the second parak. Says the Rambam Vaida. Umahi atshuva. So what is this tshuva that we need to be doing? So we said what the tshuva gemura is when you get to that place and you don't do it. So what's the tshuva? So the first thing is, sheyazoi v'achoyte chaytoi. The first part of tshuva is, I don't want to be identified as that thing anymore. I don't want to do that thing that I've been doing. I've been doing X, Netflix binging. I can't do that anymore. That's not me. Remember, tshuva is about coming back to the real me, coming back to my soul. I can't do that anymore. Then, v'yisiru memachshavtoi. So the first thing is just physically I'm not doing it. But it could be that it's going around in my brain all the time. So then you learn that even your mind, you purify your mind also. Is that you realize that even my mind, that's not what's going to bring me the happiness that I'm seeking. That there's other things that are more noble that I really want. Yeah, Yossel?
I was thinking, you watch Netflix if you want to get brainwashed. You come to yeshiva if you want to wash your brain.
Zrat Hashem? Zrat Hashem?
What about if they put you on Netflix?
So, I really wonder if they'll say the following. Most companies they have an agenda, right? They have a mission of how they run things. So, that usually companies, what they do, they look for people to parrot their agenda. If you fit with our agenda, you made it. If you don't, then you don't. But you know who's not parroting anybody's agendas except for Hashem's? Mashiach. And the tzaddikim. The tzaddikim are happy to make partnerships, speak to people. The tzaddikim, you can't sell them. If somebody is doing something against the Torah, so then they can't be part of it. Somebody's doing something. If they say, yeah, come on this show, but there's one thing. You could say anything you want. You just have to say that this one idol is okay. Everything else I don't mind. Just if there's one thing at the end where you bow down to an idol. Just that's it. Everything else is fine. No problem. We'll let you speak freely, whatever you want. Just one. There's a little idol there that you just have to nod your head to. Barely. Should we shake on it? It's a deal? Run away, my friends. Hashem sees everything. After 120 years, it's all the nourishkeit. The Yetzer Hara is going to be gone. Spread Hashem's name in the world. And sometimes you might find yourself in a compromised place. Yosef HaTzadik was in the dungeons of Egypt. He didn't compromise his values. He was in a compromised place. Well, there's a bunch of not the nicest yeshiva guys down there. It was these were the gangsters of ancient Egypt. I'm talking about the black magic specialists. And Yosef HaTzadik is going around talking to them about God. A word from the Parsha, a nice shtickle from Elam Metzias, Yeh Shalom Midas, Rava, Abaya, and he's giving people a warm word. That's what we are. That's what we are, my friends. We should be Zaycha Mamash to Tshuva Shleima. Amen. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Call to my friends.